watching KRCR News Channel 7. At 5:30, get the facts right.
Once we hit the impact, the front of the bus was on fire, and smoke started coming through the whole bus.
It was just really, really intense, really chaotic.
A survivor of the tour bus crash in Glenn County is going to share his story, and a local photographer who was just seconds away describes what he saw after taking these pictures. Good evening. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight. Along with Jennifer Scarborough, I'm Mike Mangus. 10 people, 5 of them students, have been killed in a crash involving a bus heading to Humboldt State University and a FedEx truck, a big rig. There was also a third vehicle involved. Here are the latest numbers from the Highway Patrol. 43 students were on the bus, along with 3 adult chaperones and 2 drivers of the vehicles as well. A look at the people who were killed. Both drivers died, along with all 3 chaperones and 5 students. 34 students were injured. We created this map for you so you can get a better idea of what we're looking at here. Students from several Los Angeles schools traveling up Interstate 5 from down south. They were just north of Orland when a FedEx truck headed southbound veered into the northbound lanes for unknown reasons and hit the bus head-on just about this time last night, 5:45. They were headed here to Humboldt State University in Arcata to learn more about the educational opportunities available to them on the North Coast. KRCR News Channel 7's Kate Hackett spoke with a local photographer who captured these spectacular images, and Kate is here now with that report. Kate.
Well, Mike, the pictures from Jeremy Lockett, he was actually heading south on I-5 when he happened upon the crash scene. And he tells me he first saw smoke and then thought it may have just been a grass fire. But as he got closer to the flames, he realized the severity of the incident. He saw groups of people stopped in the middle of the chaos along I-5 and began snapping pictures of the scene unfolding right in front of him.
Pulled over, and then it's when it started popping, and you could see some sort of molten metal coming out of the back of the FedEx trailer. So I got out my camera and I started taking pictures, and that's when, even on this side of the freeway, the heat was just really intense, and then you could feel it in your throat and lungs.
Now, Jeremy tells me the crash site was chaotic and intense and very surreal. He heard pops and mini explosions and decided to back away from those dangerous flames. He says he's never in his life seen anything of that magnitude and actually just started focusing on action photography shots. And these photos depict just how massive of an incident this truly was. Kate Hackett, KRCR News Channel 7.
Thank you, Kate, and thanks to Jeremy for sharing those photos with us. To see more images from the crash, head to krcrtv.com. We put together a photo essay so we can take you back through the scene.
We are learning more about the people who died and the people who survived. We've confirmed the names and have pictures of all 3 chaperones killed in the crash. This is Arthur Arzola, a recruiter for Humboldt State University. The other 2 engaged to be married. Their names are Michael Myvet and Madison Haywood. He had just popped the question in December in Paris, France. We also have the name of one of the students killed in the crash. This is Adrian Castro. He was a student at El Monte High School in Southern California in the LA area. The names of the other students who died have not yet been released or determined.
Today, families from Southern California started making their way to Glenn County to find out about their loved ones. It includes a grieving family that you're about to see. We want to warn you, this video is not easy to watch, but it does show the human toll this tragedy has caused. An hour after being taken to the Veterans Memorial Hall in Orland, this family of 3 notified that their family member was one of those who did not survive. The family latching onto each other in obvious grief. The news was joyous, however, for other families, like the family of Harley Hoyt, an 18-year-old from San Diego, who was sitting next to the emergency exit when the crash happened. And he told KRCR News Channel 7's Jerry O'Lennon what happened next.
Truthfully, it was just very scary, and it just happened very fast. And I had my headphones on, so I didn't know what was going on. And people just started screaming. And then I looked up, and right as I looked up, the bus driver slammed on the brakes, and then I flew forward. And then right after I flew forward, we had the impact with the FedEx bus, or the FedEx truck. Once we hit the impact, the front of the bus was on fire, and smoke started coming through the whole bus.
We're going to hear more of Jerry's interview with Harley Hoyt, one of the happy endings to this story, on KRCR News Channel 7 at 6:30.
And also at 6:30, we talked with CAL FIRE about how they handled the crash scene as it was unfolding. So we'll hear that, as well as the survivor, and a report from Humboldt State University at the site of the event where all the students were headed. That's all tonight on KRCR News Channel 7 at 6:30. To the weather, shaping up to be a great weekend to be outdoors.
Yeah, no rain in the forecast. We need it, but hey, if we're not going to get it, you might as well enjoy a little bit of time outside. Here's a live look from our Chico City Plaza Skycam. Great day to take a stroll around the city. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mike Kruger tracking conditions for you for the weekend. Mike?
A little bit of rainfall out there, but these cells that we're seeing are so insignificant that's really not going to have much of an impact. Let's take a look at first our Storm Tracker 7, and you have to look closely before you see any of it. Let's zoom it in here. First of all, it's in western Tehama and western Glenn counties that we've been watching here for the last half hour, 45 minutes. These are stationary. They're not moving anywhere. I haven't seen any lightning strikes associated with them. These have actually just kind of developed here in eastern Siskiyou County the last half hour as well. As you can see, very insignificant and fairly stationary as well. We'll continue to monitor this activity, but as we get closer to sunset, this will all pretty much die down. Look for no risk for severe weather throughout the weekend into the beginning of next week. And as far as any chances for rain are concerned next week, not looking all that promising. Details coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Mike. We're monitoring every new development in that deadly bus crash that killed 10 people.
5 of them students on their way to visit Humboldt State University. We'll hear from Humboldt State administrators about the tragedy next.
And this isn't the first time a deadly crash has struck the North State. We're going to show you some similar events that we've had within the past decade.
And a Shasta County girl is fighting a potentially fatal heart condition. That's a little later on KRCR News Channel 7 at 6:30.